for the kind introduction. I think you just give the introduction of my message today. All right? Yeah. Yeah. Some of if you don't know me or have not seen me, I'm Jason. All right. My wife is Christina, and well, I got the wrong slides. Sorry. Yeah, my wife and I are missionaries to Nepal for since 1988. Since 1998. No, 1988. Sorry. Yeah, it's more than almost coming 20 years now. All right. Anyway, this morning I want to thank Navin to let me come here and share God's word with you. And I would like to share from the book of Acts chapter 3. And I believe this passage is familiar with a lot of us. All right, it's about the apostles Peter and John, miracle healing of the lame man at the temple gate. You know, last time remember I preached, there was a screen here so I could see. I think the screen's at the back. It's okay, no worries. Can you see that? Okay, I'll read it up, all right? Now one day Peter and John was going up to the temple at a time of prayer at 3 in the afternoon. Now a man who was lame from birth was being carried to the temple gate called Beautiful, where he was put every day to beg from those going into the temple courts. When he saw Peter and John about to enter, he asked them for money. Peter looked straight at him, as did John. Then Peter said, "Look at us." So the man gave them his attention, expecting to get something from them. Then Peter said, "Silver or gold I do not have, but what I do have, I give you. In the name of Jesus Christ of Nazareth, walk." Taking him by the right hand, he helped him up, and instantly the man's feet and ankles became strong. He jumped to his feet and began to walk. Then he went with them into the temple courts, walking and jumping and praising God. When all the people saw him walking and praising God, they recognized him as the same man who used to sit begging at the temple gate called Beautiful. And they were filled with wonder and amazement at what happened to him. Come, let's turn to the Lord in prayer. Father, we thank you, Lord, today that we can come and worship you, Lord. I thank you for the freedom of worship in this country, Lord, in many developed nations, that we can come freely, Lord, and gather freely, Lord, each week, Lord, to sing praises to you, to worship you, and to listen to your word. Father, this morning as your word is given, Lord, I pray that our hearts, Lord, will be open to you. Because your words are life to us, Lord. Bread of life, your words are. Yeah, more precious than gold and silver. So, Lord, we pray that you give us attentive ears to listen to your voice. And, Lord, also speak to our hearts, Lord, so that we can respond to you in love. And as you challenge us to give, Lord, often it's actually a blessing to us in return. Because what you gave us, Lord, cannot compare what we give to you. So this morning, Lord, speak to us and encourage us, Lord, from your word. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Amen. Thank you. Now I make the title of the message is called "Make Your Gold, Silver and Heart Count in the Building of Lives for the Glory of God." All right? Make your gold, silver, and your heart count in the building of lives for the glory of God. Let's start by focusing on the lame man in this story. All right, next slide. Yeah. Now, there's no mention of his name. There's no mention of his family or relations. All right, the passage simply says he's lame from birth. This meant that he has never known what is standing, what is walking, what is running like, what is jumping like. Imagine that for a moment. Now the layman, however, could use his hands, and he uses his hands to survive. He begs for money, and perhaps the best place to get most out of begging, is to beg at the temple or synagogue, because that's where the worshippers will go and and they tend to be more compassionate and willing to give to the poor or needy. Now we don't encounter much beggars in Singapore. Can you turn to the next slide? Maybe they are found in temple areas like the layman in the passage, but you and I don't go to temples, so we don't really know. Okay? And we very seldom see beggars near churches, in Singapore. The closest poor we would usually encounter here are mostly old people selling tissues at crowded MRT stations or working in food centers, just as shown in the slide. And you don't actually see beggars, I mean, if you call these beggars, they're usually doing something. They're collecting something or they're selling something, the poor. All right? So I can say that the most of the disabled and poor families living even in one room rented flat here in Singapore, actually they live in a much better condition than the poor in Nepal. And I also come to see that even for the street dogs and cats in developing nations, they are much better off than those found in developing nations. If you go to Cambodia, if you go to, pay attention to the street dogs and cats, how dirty they are. All right? In Singapore, my neighborhood cats, somebody is feeding it, and it's fat and clean. Am I right? Even our dogs and street dogs and cats are much better off condition. So please think for a moment, whatever situation or circumstance you are in, really, how fortunate we are living here in Singapore. How good our life is day in, day out in this clean and rich city. Let's come back to our message. Now it says a layman is carried to the temple gate every day to beg. Now, we do not know who helped him or carried the layman, but notice the word every day. This suggests there's a collaboration or partnership between the layman and those who carry him to the temple gates. All right? Likely the layman shared his beggings of the day with his helpers. The money he earned from his daily begging, the layman gives to the son, to the helpers in exchange for his daily food to live and survive. Now, in Kathmandu, I'm told that the beggars operate in syndicates. They usually come as a group, and they're usually from India or south of Nepal. And lone beggars are usually found with broken limbs. All right? Those with broken legs would drag themselves on dusty roads to beg. Mothers would beg with children, usually a baby on one arm, 2 or 3 toddlers by the side. The beggars operate in different sections of the street. And at the end of each day, the beggars would be all gathered, and driven to a place, and then they would part their earnings in exchange for their daily food. That's how they work in the beggars. And you compare just now the slide of the poor in Singapore and the slides in here, really you can see they are really begging. You see a lot of this in Cambodia, Vietnam, in developing nations. All right, this reality. Okay? Now, there was once I was asked this question: do you live to eat or eat to live? Do you live to eat or eat to live? I was wondering why you ask such a funny question, or why need to discuss this, Now for most of us, now I realize that for most of us living in the developed world, we discuss, even debate about this, But for beggars in developing world, they practically eat to live every day. They don't live to eat, they eat to live every day. I think most of us here live to eat. Now we live like, tomorrow nasi lemak. Afternoon, Now I'm back more often now, so I know where are the good food really. Let me tell you, Red Hill Redhill Market has the best satay dio. my place in Milling Street, the market, char kway teow, also very good. We live to eat, all right? But beggars in developed nation, they practically eat to live every day. They eat for survival, they eat what is available, they eat what they can get. They cannot afford to complain or choose. They eat to live another day. Now you'll be thinking, if beggars are willing to work, especially those without disabilities, they need not to beg, right? They will come out of poverty if they work hard. Now this is true in Singapore. If you are poor, jobs can be found if you are willing to work hard. Okay, but this is not so in developing nations. All right, the reality is jobs are few and work is hard to come by. Like the lame man in our passage, begging become a form of work for the destitute in developing nations. Every day the lame man reports to the temple gate, his work is to beg. At the end of the day, he's brought back home and gets food. That's the way most beggars exist and survive for their food security every day. Now you're wondering, why am I spending so much time talking about the poor? All right. Now I think that living in the developed world, such as Singapore, we do not encounter much with poor people around us. Therefore we do not think much about the poor actually. We kind of lost touch with the poor, in fact. So we don't really know the issues relating to the poor. Now let me introduce you to the phrase called bottom of the pyramid. The term or concept was coined by Indian American C.K. Palahad. Who was, I think he's dead now, but he was a business professor in U.S. Michigan. The slides says, I can't see clearly, but the top of the pyramid is about 200 million people, and they earn about, I think, 20,000 US a year. Okay, and then the middle income, the second section of the pyramid at the top, is about 1.4 billion people. That's about 20% of the world. They earn about between $1 to $8. I think $5 to $8 a day, and this considered middle income. Then coming down, the relatively poor, there are 4 billion people. All right. So 61% plus 21 are almost 80%. And in fact, if you count right at the bottom, wow, almost 90% of people are considered poor in the world. Do you realize that? Most of us are up at the top. So don't complain, you don't have much. Don't complain, you're actually top of the pyramid, okay? Alright? Yeah, but this is the reality. More than 70% of the world population are still living in developing conditions with no proper housing, water, or electricity supply. Most of us have taken this for granted as we live in Singapore. And we think that this way of life here in Singapore is the normal way of life. You expect to see, when you go traveling, you expect to see that's how people live. But it's not. Actually, the way we live is very abnormal. Because 2/3 of the world are used to daily power cuts, water rationing. They would travel on roads filled with potholes. Okay, and the streets have no proper walkways. Now, having lived and getting used to the way of life in the developed world, actually we tend to forget that the poor has a human face. We forgot the human value in the poor. And I've come to see that actually our human value comes from being made in the image of God. Our human value actually comes from being made in the image of God. The poor, like each one of us, are created by God. And they bear the image of God. Like us, they are precious human beings. And Jesus came and died for them too. I want to show you a BBC video now. The work brings out the value of the human life. And when you look at each baby, you realize that each face bears the image of God. Can you play that video? Next slide. Can you click it at the bottom there? Doesn't work. Is it? You sure? Okay, never mind. Okay, basically I saw this video on BBC, and it's this British lady, I believe she's a missionary, the video didn't say, but her work is caring for the dying children in China. You know how she, the children with diseases and left to die, and she will bring them in. She has a lot of workers, train them how to care for the baby, wash them, feed them. Really the way we look at the video, so much love and passion. She pour on the children. It shows that these children are given away to die, but yet these people, they take back and then they really nurse them and try to, give them the dignity, So it's really touching, and what really came out for me is that they saw each baby, is being made in the image of God, and that's why it's so precious and valuable to them. They'll give the heart and the time for that. Now coming back to our passage in verse 4. Peter looked straight at him as John did. Then Peter said, "Look at us." So the man gave them his attention, expecting to get something from them. Peter and John did not forget the lame man has a human face, all right? The passage says that the two disciples of Jesus looked straight at the beggar. Probably the poor man's head was hanging down, perhaps in deep despair, shame, or hopelessness. So Peter had to say to the lame man, "Look at us." In other words, "Hey, give me attention. I'm interested in you." And the poor man was surprised at the way people want to give them attention to him and look at his face. I try to make a point to look at people in my daily encounters, in Singapore or even in Nepal. And I look at the faces of the hawkers selling food or cleaners, doing their job at food centers. I try to make eye contact with NTUC, with the cashiers. And I realize that a smile is actually quite contagious. It can almost ease any tension immediately. And a word of empathy or understanding also helps to improve service. So next time, when we encounter a poor man or poor woman on the street, or someone who is needy, such an elderly trying to sell tissue to us, take a moment and look at the person's face, and make eye contact. And when we do so, we are returning the human dignity and self-respect to the person, even though it's only for a moment. All right? Okay, verse 6, chapter 3, Acts. Then Peter said, "Silver or gold I do not have, but what I do have I give you. In the name of Jesus Christ, walk." When I come to this verse, I find it very hard to take, You know why? Because none of us today in church, including me, can declare that silver or gold I do not have. Do you agree? Oh. You may see yourself not rich and think that you really have nothing much. But the truth is, you and I have possessions. Okay, as long as we have a roof over our head, as long as we have food every day, we cannot say silver or gold I do not have. Alright, let's be honest. But this is not the case for most Christians in the early church. In Acts, history tells us that 99% of people living in those times were poor in the Roman Greece war. Right? The Roman emperors had held most of the wealth at that time. Almost all Christians living there were poor and they owned nothing. Okay? Even those few who have land or houses would soon part their properties to meet the needs of the Christian community. In Acts chapter 4, we see that clearly. In verse 32 it says, All the believers were one heart, were one in heart and mind. No one claimed that any of their possessions was their own, but they shared everything they had. Those were the days. Huh? But this can't be said of the church today. Can't be said of us today. You know, we may be times that we are one heart and one mind, all right? But we keep our possession to ourselves, right? I do that. You know, I do that. You know, I keep possession to myself. You know, we don't share everything we own. We mostly practice, you don't owe me, I don't owe you. You know, then we have peace. You know, and we contribute what we think we can afford to a need, but we are not obligated, you know, to commit all that we have, you know, to the church. Now, please don't get me wrong. I'm not judging here, all right? I'm just pointing out the reality of how we manage our wealth and possessions today. Okay. I don't know whether after this you'll invite me here to preach again or not. Okay, next verse. With great power, the apostles continued to testify to the resurrection of the Lord Jesus, and God's grace was so powerfully at work within them all that there were no needy persons among them. Now, because all the believers in the early church did not claim any possessions their own, instead they shared everything they had. Everyone experienced God's powerful grace at work in the church. You know, and the result was every need was met by God, and there was no more needy people was found in the church those days. All right. Now, I believe the key to accessing God's power in the days of the early church is this: the believers were most willing to release all the resources each possessed and put them before God. You know, just like the 5 loaves and 2 fishes, Jesus, you know, could feed the 5,000 and meet the hunger need. You know, and likewise, the early church, counting on God's grace with the little they had, they gave it all. And the materially poor believers were then able to witness and experience God's powerful miracles and great healing at work in their midst. And the next verse says, from time to time, those who owned land or houses sold them, brought the money from the sales and put it at the apostles' feet, and it was distributed to anyone who had need. You know, that was how the poor was uplifted and poverty eradicated among the believers in the early church. Because no one claimed anything their own. Those who have readily shared with the needy in the church. And in those days, that was how one is prepared to follow Christ and be part of the church community. Yeah. Now, it's extremely hard for the church today to do this. You know, to practice what the early church does, you know, teaching on common ownership and total sharing of possessions. You know? And the reason is that because most of us have personal possessions, you know, and the other reason is that those of us who have outnumbers those who have not in our world today. You know, that's why we don't see the need to give sacrificially to meet the needs of the poor among us. Now, I want to show you a slide now. Maslow hierarchy of human needs. You can see below, right from, see, every human has this need. The right at the bottom is the physiological needs. That means food, water, and all that. And then after that is security needs, all right, safety and all that. Then after that, love and belonging and all that. Now you look at on the right side of the slide. You see, 4 billion in the world today are at the base of the pyramid. Okay, the low income is 1.4 billion. They only have $3 to $5 a day they live on. Right? And then after that is the subsistence. 1.6 billion people live between $1 to $3 a day with little education and all that. Then the extreme poor, all right, is 1 billion, less than $1 a day. You know, and the life is very precarious, right? 4 billion, 6 billion in the world, you know, are poor. You know, are desperately poor actually. Okay. Now it's important for the church to understand this. Now, as we talk about going to missions and all that, it's very important for us to understand this. And we need to pay attention to the fundamental needs existing in the developing world. Because being conscious of this will shape and guide our thinking in mission. It will lead us to think, to take the right kind of action as we obey Christ's great commission to go out to the world to preach the gospel. When we understand there are real needs and struggles in the developing world, we will begin to feel and empathize with the people we want to reach for Christ. Besides taking the Bible and bringing God's word to them, we want to start looking, within ourselves. We ask ourselves, what can we do to bring real and tangible help in the mission field? And we look at our own natural talents and gifting, our training, our life skill we have gained and cultivated over the years. How can we bring all these to the mission field and put them into good use? To bring practical help and meet real livelihood needs of the local people. Some of you are aware that I worked in the Air Force for over 10 years before I became a full-time missionary. All right, and I realized that 10 years of working experience actually, didn't go to waste in the mission field when I was in Nepal. With my logistic planning and organizational skills, gained over the years of working, I was able to help build and establish our church planting ministry today. And I've also discovered actually that my primary gifting is leadership. Because of my training and all that. And it's not pastoring or preaching. And honestly, it's a great self-discovery. So I'm happily not a pastor, and you happily don't need to call me a pastor also, just call me Jason. Alright. It's important to know our gifting and our strength, and bring this to the mission field. Now I've been thinking hard how to make missions more meaningful and practical for you in the church. Now it will be very meaningful and fulfilling for you to bring your natural talents, gifting, training, and work experience to the mission field. As I think of a church member here, Doris Tan, is it? Doris Lim, the head, the facial, the lady. Yeah, she has been, doing facial and beauty work for many years, in fact, most of her life. How she can bring her work experience to help the folks in the field, in the mission field. Perhaps you can conduct a class to teach local women how to wash and keep their faces clean and free from bacteria. And in doing so, share on the godly characteristic of keeping oneself clean and hygienic. And perhaps you are a hairstylist. You can teach basic hair cutting skills. And or if you are a handyman, you can teach the youth basic skills of using the right tools for plumbing works. I believe most of you will find meaningful and fulfilling in bringing your life and work experience to the mission field and see the local people being helped in practical ways. When we bring tangible help and meet real needs in the mission field, we'll begin to see lives change and improve. We'll see real transformation takes place. And then when you'll find your mission work is impacting lives, and then you want to be more involved and make future trips. So don't just do missions work, but do meaningful missions work. It's not easy, all right, but we should think about that. Because I've been in the field for almost 20 years. A lot of church missions come and go. And often, they are involved in meetings. Sunday school teaching, women's fellowship, youth meeting, evangelistic, And okay, I'm not saying that they are no good. They are good, all right. But at the end of the day, after the mission team leave, the church remains the same, in that sense. Maybe spiritually they are rich, but they still remain poor and struggling their basic needs. That's what I'm saying, all right. Now, let's continue with our passage. All right. So taking him by the right hand, Peter helped him up, and instantly the man's feet and ankles became strong. He jumped to his feet and began to walk. Then he went with them to the temple courts, walking, jumping, and praising God. I see this as empowerment. Okay, praise God. Our God is a miracle-working God. So whatever struggle we face or go through in life, we can count on His grace and love to see us through. All right, His grace is always available and sufficient for us. But also from this verse, you can see that the apostles Peter and John did not just command the lame man to stand and walk, but they took him by the hand and held him up. And for the first time in his life, the lame man knew what it means to stand on his feet and move on his legs. You know, when the apostles physically held up the man, the power of God began to flow through the body of the lame man. And the passage says, instantly the man's feet and ankles became strong. He jumped to his feet and began to walk. So I want to see that the apostles empowered the lame man to stand up and walk for his life. The healed man no longer required help to be carried around anymore. You know, now he can walk, run and jump like anyone else. And the man could find proper work for his livelihood. He no longer need to beg at the temple. I mean, that's real and tangible empowerment. That's what it really means to enable a person to fish and feed for oneself. And that's what we should do in the mission field. You know? Yeah. Now, looking back almost 20 years of my life and work in Nepal, you know, I'm grateful how our missions and ministry have progressed and developed till today. Let's look at some slides. Now, in 2001, there you see the guy there at the corner standing. That's me, very young. Okay? Yeah, and that's how we started our training center, our church planning training center. We rented a place below. Okay, 4 rooms, 4-room flat, and we started humbly. Only 4 students were in my first batch of training. Okay, then after about 7-8 years, we built our new training center now on the right side. You can see. Alright, it's a huge place now, and we just concluded our 23rd batch of training. You know, so since after the second or third batch, our training was beginning to get popular. So every time we call for a training, that we had 40, 50 people who try to, want to do the training, but we only shortlist to about 25. So from the third batch onwards, we are getting about 20 something that come for our training. And every time there's a training, we will select about 10, 15 to start new churches. All right? And till now, we have about almost 200 churches in our church public ministry. And we also do pastoral upgrade training for our church planters. You know, every year, 2-3 times, we'll bring them, we'll gather them, and then we do upgrade training. You know, our so-called mantra of our training center for our people is this: the day I stop learning is the day I stop growing. You know, and not only that, because the day I stop growing is the day I stop leading. You know, the last part, the day I stop growing is the day I stop leading. Frightens the pastors. You know, so they always come back for the upgrade training, and then yeah. And in 2016, about earlier than that, 2013, we started the diploma in theological, in the theology course, and this actually a real certification. We give to our trainees. So those who want to continue to study, they will embark on a 3-year, distant learning with us. So from every 3 months, they'll come back and we do a class with them, and then they go back and do the homework and do the exams and all that. So in 2016, we had a graduation of about 16 of them, and then we just started this year in February, another second batch of diploma course. Next. Now, so between 2001 to 2016, a total of 96 churches has been planted. Right? Alright, most churches are experiencing growth. However, most remain economically poor. not the believers. Most believers still struggle in their livelihood issues. Yeah, we have a lot of churches, praise God, but they're struggling in the basic needs. I realized that, in the last few years. Okay, next slide. We have our children home ministry. That corner, that side, that's my young wife, Can you see her? She's so young. Can't believe it. Yeah, when we brought the kids in the time, she would cut their nails and all that. Yeah, next slide, please. So, yeah. More boys came to join, and then from 2005, then girls came to join our home. At first we started all boys, then later girls came. And then in 2007, our home was officially registered as Hope Trust Nepal. We are official NGO now. Okay, next slide please, thanks. See those boys, they're so young. Now they're so big now. That's almost 10 years apart. See the girls? They came about like 6-7 years. Now they are now 16, 17. Yeah, these 4 children, right now they are taller than my wife now. Can you see? Taller than Krishna. Okay. And then 2008, that's our home, and then this is the latest photo of our home. Alright, next. And we're looking forward to our new children home in Pokhara. Now, our current home, we have rented a place in Kathmandu. We have about 40 over kids. But this home, when we move there next year, or in 2 years, we are probably looking at 120 kids. Yeah. So these are a new batch of young kids, young children. Now, as the children grow big, they put them to school and all that, they finish the school, the main challenge is actually finding work for them to make a living. That's the main challenge. That's why some of them are working in Singma, in stepping stone for their career. Yeah, but a lot of them are looking for, in need of job, actually, girls and boys. Yeah, next slide. Now, then in 2013, we have the Haiyan typhoon, in Philippines. After a month of the typhoon, Janice and I went down, and saw the devastation. Okay, and next slide, please. And we realized that the people need homes there. So we embarked on rebuilding homes for 45 houses in Tanawan, a small area, where one of our church is. Okay, then in the following year in August, there was a big flood in West Nepal. You see, recently I believe in the news you also hear, right? There's a big flood in Nepal going on right now. The problem is that the country don't develop, the situation remains the same. The monsoon comes and every year there will be flood. So it's terrible. So, but in any case, there was big floods, and I went there, I did a survey. A lot of people in need of houses. So we started on the house rebuilding, and 80 houses we built in this place. In 2005. I remember, the one that you see the lady there, the old lady with the daughter-in-law. All right, and the day I went to visit her, I went to see the house that was built. She was so thankful. I said, she's about 60 plus, and she said, this is the first time I'm living in a concrete house. Because the mud house she was living in for many years, the flood came and then swept away. So now she got a concrete house. She's so happy. I tell you, that house, you and I probably don't want to stay, probably one night only. But to them it's like, wow. It's like, and that morning I remember, what I remember? I remember the passing of Lee Kuan Yew. Lee Kuan Yew died that morning, and I was there. And then I was thinking, wow, I'm here, building 80 houses. But Lee Kuan Yew, wow. He has lifted the generation out of poverty, and he has given thousands of us a house ownership. So I'm wondering, how come? Why can't our church be all this kind of work? Using houses and all that. So anyway, that was my thought today. Yeah, so we started. Then the earthquake came. No, before that. Before the slide. Slide before? Before? Big earthquake. I was there. Yeah, my wife, we experienced, we spent 3 days, 3 nights in the car. Alright, because the aftershocks will keep coming back. And right after the earthquake, for some people live in tents for almost a week to 1 month. Even our children also were out there. And I after, I was so shaken. I didn't leave my house. I didn't leave my place for almost a few weeks. Then once I got myself back, I went out to the village, to the churches where all the houses are. I went there. I went to 4 places, 4 villages. 90%, all the mud houses all collapsed. Cannot live anymore. Very dangerous. So, and then that was April, and then I knew that the monsoon was coming in June. So the next slide. So people will be, so we started to build temporarily tin shelters for them. We built about 200. Not enough, but that's what we can do. So we started on that, and then later on, next slide. In October, we started rebuilding work, right? Again, building concrete houses, for the earthquake victims. So till today, we have 70 houses have rebuilt in 4 villages, and then the 50 houses are ongoing now. You see, what we are doing is only the tip of the iceberg. For this kind of national disaster, you need a national effort, to help all the people. So we are only focusing on the poorest of the poor. Where our church is, I'll tell the pastor, do a survey, the whole village, 200 houses, we survey, and then select 10%. Christian, non-Christians, just select them. Then we'll try to help to build. Yeah. So, and for the first, if you look carefully at this slide, you see the smile of the people, the smile. For almost 6 months when I visit regularly for the rebuilding work, they are very despondent, they are all very downcast and all that. But as they see the concrete roof, concrete pillar and foundation coming up, the smile began to return to their face. In fact, the one on the right, actually our pastor. We are not even building for our pastors. Our pastors also lost their houses. And I told the pastor, I cannot build for you first. We have to take care of the believers first and the poor in the village. So let's build for them first. Only now and then we are slowly building for our pastors. Otherwise, anyway, a lot of issues. Next. Okay, thank you. Anyway, I want to thank the church for all these years of your support and me and Chris that we're able to do this work in the mission field. Okay, coming back. When all the people saw him walking and praising God, they recognized him as the same man who used to sit begging at the temple gate, called Beautiful. And they were filled with wonder and amazement at what had happened to them. Now the miracle forever changed the scene at the temple. The people no longer find the lame man begging at the gate. If they see him, the man no longer hang down his head and stretch out his hand in shame. Instead, they will see him raising his hand, praising God, which in turn will make them, praise God as well. So the miracle forever changed the course of life for the once helpless beggar. He no longer needed to beg for a living. The miracle has empowered the man with the ability to work for a decent living. And with proper work, the man could now provide for himself. His self-respect and dignity was restored. With his own security net now, the man now in turn could help others in need. That's the glory of God in his power of deliverance. He heals and heals and delivers us so that we can live the life that He expects us to live. To experience Jesus' promise of abundant life, not lacking in anything. But that's not all. After we are touched by God's love and experience His goodness, we in turn go out to help others in need and to do our best to reach out to them in genuine care and concern. We want to help people to come out of poverty and see them stand on their own feet. And once they are empowered to do that, the day will come that they themselves will go and help others. That's the result of the true salvation. Once being helped and restored by God, we in turn go out and help others and experience God's love and salvation. Now, can we go to some slides? The next slides. Okay, let's go back to the one. Sorry, this one. Now, as we are rebuilding houses for the poor, right? Then I also realized that there's also food security problem. So I began to think of what is the poor village family look like, in Nepal without land. Right? So the average size is about 5 members, and likely the parents are not educated, but their children are going to school now. And what they have now, the land that they have is actually is ancestor ownership passed down by their ancestors. And then I also found out that their personal resources are come from their farming and caste schemes. Okay, and then there are a lot of health issues that led them into poor hygiene, due to poor hygiene. And they have debts usually between $600 to $1,000 over dollars, And then the average monthly income is about $135. And what they need to survive every month is about $300, which is not much actually. So when I realized, really helping the poor not so straightforward, not so easy. So think of all these, look at the facts and then how to capture this and how to work towards this. So actually helping a family is not much. It doesn't take much. Maybe about $200. If you get another $200, they're able to make ends meet every month. So I'm looking at now organic farming. Recently I just leased about 40,000 square feet of land, and right now we are planting tomatoes, all right, and hopefully can sell them. And we are trying to not yet. We are trying to make our own fertilizer, using urea, to plant the organic tomatoes. And later on, we are planting mushrooms. This is only a trial, right? Not success yet. Okay, next one. Then I'm looking to pig farming. Tomorrow, Janice and I will go to the Philippines. We'll meet this Zhu Ching. All right, he's from Zion Gospel Mission. Has been in the Philippines for 8 years, and he has started his own pig farming in 2 years, and he's very successful. I'm trying to learn from him. Like a butcher. Man, the last time I visited him, he slaughtered one and then cut. I mean, Jason, this is the best part, the tenderloin, most expensive. So he made his own feed again. See, by making your own feed, you actually save 40% in cost. So I'm hoping to learn from him, and maybe in November in Nepal, I want to bring this to Nepal and help, maybe through micro loans, 2-3 pigs to one poor family, teach them how to make their feed, and then they grow, and then they can sell to get the $200 they need every month to survive. I'm thinking of all this. All right. So I don't know how you will go, but this is what I'm looking at. Thank you. Next. All right, I'm finishing. Just give me another 5 minutes, please. Come on, patient with me. Now, the last time I spoke in CNL, I shared from Luke chapter 10 on the story of the Good Samaritan. The passage started with a teacher of the law coming to Jesus with a question: what must I do to inherit eternal life? And Jesus pointed to him the 2 great commandments. And from the 2 great commandments, the teacher of the law had a second question. Now, who is my neighbor? Because the commandment said, love your God and love your neighbor. And then the teacher of the law said, oh, okay, then who's my neighbor? And this led Jesus to tell the story of the Good Samaritan. And from the story, the teacher of the law came to see that the true neighbor was the Samaritan, who reached out to the injured man. So having understood this, Jesus said to him, now that you know, don't fail to be the neighbor like the Samaritan. So in other words, love God, love your neighbor, and this will lead you to eternal life. To me, in simple terms, right? Love your God means be good, be a good person. Don't do this wrong, don't be evil and all that. Not be a good person. And love God, love your neighbor, simply means do good. So eternal life is about being good and also doing good also. And I realized a lot of the teaching in church is about being good. We don't talk much about doing good. When I say this, you know what people tell me? Jason, you're becoming like a Catholic father, Okay. Now, don't get me wrong, okay? I'm not preaching salvation by works, okay? And because of time, I don't want to go to the next slides. Let's continue. Okay, next slide. Next one. Okay, this one. Stay here. Now, in conclusion, all right? We are all excited to participate in church missions work. But bear in mind that we are going to poor developing nations such as Nepal and Philippines. And Nepal just had suffered a great earthquake 2 years ago. With such a big disaster, all right, the progress of the nation is set back for at least 10 years. There are real needs, and the needs are great. The earthquake victims need new homes. The poor need food security. The youth need work. The people really need tangible help for basic living. So let's think hard and take a long-term view on how to work with the locals when we rebuild their lives. All right? Like the apostles, Peter and John paying attention to the lame man. Let us give our attention to the local people and be interested in their lives. Let's offer a solid helping hand to lift them up of their misery. Let's do missions that will meet real needs and bring real change and transform life for the better. As we live today, we cannot honestly say, like Peter and John, gold and silver, I have none. All right? But no matter how much or how little we have, let's put every resource into good use to effectively help those in need. Let's make our gold, silver, time, and heart, in building lives for the glory of God and His kingdom. Thank you.